Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Jay Rana Show. We're at the Titan Union as always, and today I have the pleasure and privilege of interviewing a good buddy of mine, a name, a staple in the wedding industry. Give a big round of applause to the myth, the legend, the man, Mr. Sumit Arya. Sumit, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Jay, how are you, man?
Doing really well. Thanks for coming down, man. I know you're a busy man. You're a busy schedule. I appreciate
Never
out a little
busy
time
for you, man. Never.
I appreciate that, man. I really do appreciate that. But, like I said, I know you're busy. You're international at this point, right? I know that you're doing destination shoddy as well, going to traveling different places and introducing different venues and different resorts for bridal expos and all that beautiful stuff, right? How's that coming along?
Everything is great, man. And yes, we just launched a new product called Destination Shadi.
Nice.
And it's not, these exhibitions are not exclusively destination yet.
Okay.
That will take time, but we're kind of merging that element into our regular shows.
Nice.
So yeah, I was in Jaipur for like a month.
How was that?
Yeah. Oh, I got lucky. I was there to meet the venues, and then I stumbled upon a huge convention.
Yeah.
Called, if I'm going to remember the name, it was basically tourism and planning industry.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I mean, exactly what I was looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
What a coincidence, right?
Huh?
What a coincidence, right?
Exactly. And I took a booth over there.
Okay.
And I spoke on the stage. And
Nice.
I got so much networking done. Met all the who's who of the wedding and destination weddings and planning industry.
So was that only from people from India itself, like all the professionals, or did they come from?
Mostly India.
Okay.
And the idea was that, I mean, they were basically there to promote that industry.
Nice.
And I was there to actually find such vendors to, kind of grace my exhibitions. And,
Of course.
For me to bring them from there to here. That will take time. So hopefully for the next year, because they need time for visas and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so basically all the brides were looking to get married in India, in Udaipur, Jaipur, and all those royal,
all the forts, right?
royal forts and palaces and whatnot. So by bringing those vendors here, I'll make it easier for them.
Nice.
Basically connect them both.
Nice. I had the pleasure of going to Jaipur in 2001.
Okay.
I went to Jaipur, went to Agra. It was a while ago. I mean, I travel, right? But the last time I had the opportunity to go to India was back then. So we went on a road trip, me and my family and my uncle and everybody. We went to this one fort in Jaipur, right?
Okay.
We were doing a little tour. Beautiful space, right? We saw the Maharaja.
Oh, wow.
Walking around. And we asked the tour guide, like, who's that dude? Oh, that's the guy, the Dalisher. He's the king. Blew my mind. So is it true that some of these ports are still occupied by the royal family?
Royal families, yes. As a matter of fact, see, I went to a lot of facilities that were palaces, and then they were sold to private hotels.
Nice.
And so now they operate as hotels, resorts.
Yeah.
And there's a fort in Bishangarh, like an hour from Jaipur.
Okay.
Amazing property.
Yeah.
Completely solid booked with weddings.
Wow.
And they say 85% of their brides are NRIs. Resident Indians, yes.
The weddings,
and mainly from America, more than UK now.
That's what I wanted to speak to you about. Like the weddings that we do here, right? I feel like they're as good as they can get with the resources that we have here in this country, right?
Yes.
Because things are so expensive nowadays. When you go to India, everything's such on a larger scale.
And more. It might cost you the same.
Similar. Yeah. Same. It's like going to Cancun for a wedding. You may think it's going to be cheaper, but it's not, right? Because everything is like in a price here. But I feel like when you go to India for a wedding, there's a lot more manpower. Yeah. Right? So you can get a lot of more things done.
Yes.
The price is going to be the same, but
man or woman power.
Right? Man or woman power. You don't want to be.
Yeah, we don't want to exclude anybody.
Exactly.
So I mean, again, the focus is still on wedding planning. The focus is still on Dulhan Expos.
Okay.
That's a new division that we're starting, which is going to grow slowly. But yes, for 21 years now.
Nice.
And, we've been at this particular, we're at it. We're chasing this goal of getting everybody's weddings planned perfectly.
Bro, I hit that goal a while ago.
I know. But what I'm saying is it continues because the brides keep changing, the new generations keep coming, and we're there to help them plan their weddings in person. There's nothing like in person. And Jay Rana here started with me literally from the very first year.
It was your first show?
Very first year.
I remember that.
Not the first show though, second show.
Was the second show? Okay.
You were at the Birchwood Manor the first time, right?
Nah, my first show was at the Expo.
No, wait.
It was at...
No, not the Garden State Expo Center.
Yeah.
No.
I believe that was my first show.
Oh, no, that was your solo Raz Entertainment show.
He said Raz Entertainment.
That was that was
Nice.
That was the Garden State Expo Center. Yeah.
Right.
I was telling her, my colleague on the way here, that how you literally made a very major grand entrance with the official DJ, your name plastered everywhere on the goodie bags, this, that. You didn't left any stone unturned. The first time when you did, when we launched the Raz Entertainment over there. But I remember seeing you at the Birchwood Manor in 2003, February, probably 16 or something.
That was probably with my cousin Bharat and them.
No, that was Raj Gandhi.
Right.
No, wait. Right. It could be Bharat also. I'm not sure.
I think we were all under one roof under that
Yeah.
point. It was me, it was Raj, it was my cousin Bharat. We were working under Essence Entertainment at that point.
Yeah. So it was Essence, I think, and then... that I remember you from then. There was another show. There was one more show before that, and that was at the Cotillion. Now it's called Royal Manor.
Yeah.
Garfield.
Right.
That was my first show in January of 2003.
The only banquet hall I want to talk about that's in Garfield is going to be Milan Banquets.
Milan?
Family owned, family operated.
I've had weddings over there.
Yeah, no.
So before my expo, which is what you call a stint, I was a wedding photographer and a decorator.
That's right.
So I've done weddings at Milan. I mean, probably both services. I set up decor there. I did photography there. Quite a few weddings. It's pretty popular back then. It's pretty popular right now.
Yeah.
So so I had a nice 13-year full-time run as a vendor before I jumped into this. Well, I'm a dinosaur. I'm like ancient.
Yeah, dinosaur. You know what? Listen. Being in this industry, right, I tell all my colleagues, other vendor buddies of mine, either you love it or you don't. It's that simple. There's no, I like to go there. I like to be a photographer. I like to be a DJ. There's no like. Yeah. Right? Because you put so much into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's companies that come in, they do maybe they're there for 2 years or 3 years, they make some money and they dip out, which is fine. That works for them. But I feel like if you want to be here and make an impact, especially in the South Asian wedding industry, in the tri-state area, which is a monster of its own, you need to be dedicated. You need to invest your time.
When it comes to participating in bridal shows, I'm sorry, I'll cut you.
No, go for it.
See, two major things. If you're going to pick up business from Dulhan Expos or not, two major factors. One is positive manifestation.
Right.
If you go in thinking that I'm going to bloody capture every bride over there, I'm going to book every wedding over there.
Right.
You walk in with that attitude, you're going to come out with something.
Nice.
Second thing is passion. If you're passionate about your skill, if you're passionate, or are you dragging it just because, or you're doing it for the money, you're not going to get nothing. If you're doing it for the passion, nothing can stop you.
I agree.
Nothing can stop you. And being at the right place at the right time, there's nothing else like that.
Right.
So, meeting people in person, meeting people, I tell the brides also, online is fine, but you need to go in person. You need to check out the personality of the guy who's going to make or break your wedding.
100%.
A photographer, he could make your wedding very gloomy if he is, he's depressed as F,
If you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, if he had argued his wife that day.
You need a photographer who's going to make you laugh all day.
Right.
Who's going to keep it uppity up,
100%.
Yeah. So you need to check out those personalities.
Yeah.
You can't be, indifferent about it, especially a lot of times the brides that came to me in my photography days, they looked at my photos, but the video, they'll look at it for like 2-3 minutes and be like, okay, fine. We like it. Okay,
girl.
Let's get to the, money part. And I'm like, no, you need to like it. If anything,
you need to love it.
Yeah, you need to love it. Because, so the idea is that I want my brides to be discerning.
Right.
I want them to be picky. I want them to be like, yes, nothing but the best for my big day.
Because that also helps you build as well.
Yeah.
Because if they're looking at your product, if they want something more than that's what's already shown to them, then that's going to help you as a company build, because now you want to make sure that you deliver.
I take a lot of pride in this. And as a matter of fact, I love it that people put that trust in me.
Yeah.
The brides put that trust in me, that I've done my homework to bring those vendors. Of course, we can't literally vouch for everybody's complete professionalism and talent, because no matter how much we screen, obviously there is something that you need to do your homework as well.
100%.
So, the idea is we make the introductions, but we give you a range, because again, you're going to get what you pay for. So, we have lesser expensive vendors, we have more expensive vendors. You can fit them according to your budget, your priorities, this
different
and that.
tiers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you remember that part. So the idea is that there is that trust that brides have been putting in us, and our vendors feel that pressure too.
Right.
So they try to deliver, and according to the best of their. I've seen vendors grow, and you were talking about like 1 or 2 years and stuff. See, there is no such thing as, this is not an ATM machine.
Okay.
You're gonna put your credit card up there, you get the money down here.
Okay.
The consistency is the key.
100%.
Yeah.
Facts.
You were with me for 7-8 years minimum or more. Magic Mike, 15 years. Nina Doshi, 15 years.
Right.
Actually 15 years. I'm talking from 2003 until she retired. Every show. Like, these are the vendors. Like, I have vendors like Aisha Khan, who started out charging, I'm not going to say the exact smaller amount part, but she was way low. And then, once she slowed down a little bit, she was in the family way. At that point, 4 or 5 years ago, she was at $1,300 per look.
Okay.
And she probably started out at where an average makeup artist starts out, like $300-400.
Nice. Good for her.
So, you have so many success stories. Kaval Batul, so many years. Ruma Noreen, so many years, of doing makeup art. Malia Khan, so many years of taking a stall and, working hard. You have Zishan Shamji. There's so many success stories.
Right.
Same thing goes with DJs. I mean, you have DJs who started out as a team of 2, and now they have 20 guys working under them. 30 guys working under them.
Right.
You have photographers who were charging, let's say, 1/5 of what they're charging now.
Yeah.
But they grew. Their talent grew, and they are able to succeed in a way where, they are. It's not like their talent is growing, but their, brand value is not.
Right.
So they get more. They deserve more. The brides also have, let's say, different budgets. So a lot of people graduate from a lot of the vendors graduate from one level to another.
Yeah.
So you've seen also that the families also, with every wedding in their family, they also have different priorities. And
Right.
yeah. So what we do is we do matchmaking pretty much.
Gotcha.
So
that's something you should be starting as well.
Not that kind of matchmaking.
Matchmaking. Why not?
Not
Did
that
you start something like that like a while ago?
No.
Was that concept?
No. I don't.
I think you should. I think you should. I think
I'm not getting to that.
Well, why not?
But my matchmaking is
I'll take a lead on it.
matching the vendors with the matching the vendors with the brides.
Right.
Matching their budgets, matching their talent, and their requirements, But yeah. So this matchmaking, I don't want to be a part of. You guys end up fighting and then my neck is on the line.
It's something that I talked to a couple of my colleagues about years ago. I was like, let's just create our own supply and demand as a DJ company. You know what? Let's do a matchmaking concept, get the bride and grooms together, right? And then offer our services as for entertainment.
They're going to find each other anyway, man.
Offer our services as the wedding planners, A to Z. Let's close that loop all together, right? You create your own demand and you have your own supply.
Look at this guy. He's thinking extra
all the time. I'm ambitious as hell, bro.
Extra ambitious.
Look at where we are. Look at where we are.
Get him into trouble.
I want to tie in at this point. Yeah, man, you got to. Earlier you said
Dulhan Expo guy also owns shadibarbadi.com.
Well, there you go.
Shadibarbadi.com.
That's crazy, man.
And I just did it for fun because I know people are going to be looking for it and they're going to end up on my site because it's forwarded.
How many domains do you have?
At one point, I had 500 domain names saved.
Okay.
that showed you my level of insecurity. So everything
insecurity or consistency.
It's a lot of things. Yeah, no, it helps you because anybody searching for those names is going to end up on my website.
Right.
So it's a redirectional effort as well.
100%.
Plus everything. No, but see, I didn't want my name to be diluted.
Gotcha.
I don't want little shops opening up, and so many tried, like a Dulhan fashion, Dulhan jewelry, Dulhan makeup, Dulhan beauty, Dulhan this, Dulhan that.
Gotcha.
Dulhan photography. So I saved all these names beforehand, and
smart move.
And a lot of like similar bridal show names, I saved all those domains. So this way, it doesn't get diluted. If you have 20 different companies with the name Dulhan in it, my name gets like so diluted.
I completely agree. Like I don't have 500 domains, but I do have quite a few.
I'm down to 100 now. So annually,
I'm probably up there as well.
Annually, it was costing a lot of money. $5,000 a year.
Yeah. It's an investment, right? It's an investment in yourself, your brand, and all that kind of stuff.
I'm never shy to invest in my business, and that's
a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to invest in themselves. They just want to be like fly by night. I'm going to make money off my talent, which is great. We still got to invest in yourself. You got to invest in your brand.
Yeah,
brand is everything.
Vendors ask me if all this free marketing available online nowadays with Facebook and Instagram being a big source of brides shopping around and stuff. So they ask me if that affects me inadvertently.
Right.
In my workshops to the vendors, if I give them marketing workshop, I say, yes, you have to combine Insta and Facebook with my expos.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's a combined effect. How you can reach out. But I don't feel they can compete with us because, see, when you go looking for a photographer on Instagram, you're going to find them in different parts of the world.
Right.
You cannot localize it. You cannot make the search narrow.
Right.
And then again, you're going to find so many choices. You're going to be, at one point, you're going to be you're going to confuse yourself more because
too many options out there.
Too many options. And then again, you don't know who's credible and not.
Right.
If you're looking at pictures, if they're theirs or not. I mean, if any...
Does that happen often?
No, I'm not accusing that part. I'm not accusing that part. But you know what? A photography studio owns every subcontractee's work.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, if one studio has 4 photographers working under them,
right,
we don't know whose work is being posted.
Right.
And who's coming.
It's the same thing with DJ companies, right? I mean, you got like 7 or 8 different DJs. And one particular DJ team is rocking a wedding. They did a bang out job.
And you hire based on that.
And you have another DJ from the same company that's like, okay, it was fine.
Newbie or less talented or,
right.
Or not as introvert. I mean, maybe he's an introvert.
Right.
And,
So what do you do to combat
that? What I'm trying to say, okay, so this is a whole different how-to session that I can give my brides. We could probably do another show on that, where you got to ask straight who's coming.
Right.
Show me their video. Hoping that everybody, is going to be honest about it.
100%.
But yeah, with photographers and DJs, that's why meeting in person helps. You want to find a structure where you have somebody talented, but at the same time doesn't have too many subcontractees.
Right.
Like, you don't want to be impressed by a company that has 20 photographers, 30 DJs.
Gotcha.
That's where you could get burned. And that's where
most people do get burned.
But then you might find a more reasonable price also. But that's why...
Well, that's if you're shopping on pricing at that point,
for
right?
every category, a bride has to know how much to spend, how little is too little also.
And what their priority is.
And sometimes, what happens is, see, you could get not so talented person for a higher price just because she knew how to charge that money.
Gotcha.
So it's a very tough thing. So that's why in my radio show, I used to educate people on how to pick a DJ, how to evaluate these people.
Right.
So I got to start writing articles on that again too.
You should, 100%. Yeah. The more the better.
Definitely, yeah. So basically, it's so complicated. Like, see, nowadays, a lot of people leave things on the planners. And again, I have planners at my expo. Again, I'm not saying anything about anybody particular.
But I'm a planner.
Okay, but you would agree with me. A lot of times we have our own in-house vendors and stuff.
Right.
We have our favorites. So we might just put those forward.
Well, do you know why I have my particular favorites? Because I know how to work with them with clear synergy. You know?
Yes.
So if I were to, so I work in a tier system, all right? Tiers 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 is going to be based on budgets, right? Listen, Jay, I got a budget of $250,000. What can you do for me? Absolutely. You know, we'll go with the tier 1 vendors. Jay got a budget of $150,000. What can you do? Tier 2 vendors. Jay got a budget.
Your thing was my thing.
Jay got a budget of $75,000 to $85,000.
Yeah.
Right. Tier 3. But all those tiers, we're going to give you the best out of all those tiers.
On that particular price.
100%. Right.
Yeah.
100%. Now that also goes into your priorities as well, right?
Yes.
I'll give you a great example. Let's say it's a Punjabi client.
Yeah.
Right. I know for a fact that the entertainment is going to be a priority and food is going to be a priority. Is huge. Yeah. If I have a Pakistani client, they're not worried about the entertainment. They're going to be worried about the clothing. That's going to be huge, the jewelry, and then it's going to be the food, right? So now, how do you categorize that?
Part, I love how confidently you made a couple of generalizations. Whenever I make generalizations about anything, I tend to apologize while I'm doing it. But why? Because these generalizations stand true
It's facts.
Yeah, these are facts.
These are facts. I don't care what anyone says. These are facts.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was smiling. I was
like, been in this industry for like over 25 years, right? More. I've been rocking since I was 21. I'm 45 now. I'm still rocking, right?
But then I'm like, you know what? Let me stay young. Let me look young. 25 is enough. 25. I mean, 25 is enough.
The thing is, you know what you know.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of sharing what you know.
Yeah.
Right. I can't even talk on the opposite side of that as well. We talk about passion, for example, right? So passion versus penalty. I just thought about this a few months ago, right? The higher the passion, the higher the penalty, right? So now what do you classify as your penalty? Listen, my passion is 100%. I'm a DJ. I'm a rock out, all day, all night. Well, penalty is going to be the same equal. You're going to miss out on a lot of family time, a lot of personal moments, a lot of commitments. Your passion is less, penalty is less. Right. So you need to understand.
You made a very good analysis here. Yeah, you made a very good analysis here because, see, at the end of the day, I always put business first. I always said Dulhan Expo is my wife.
Right.
And I, until today, she stood by your side. She's by my side and she's very faithful.
100%.
And I'm good. So, earlier, when I was talking about the wedding planners, I don't want to miss making that point. So now, the idea was that yes, planners will give you their suggestions, and they will also go with your suggestions, and you can probably together pick a third vendor also. But the idea is you should know how to pick a vendor. So what I meant was that a bride almost has to be a photographer in order for her to pick a photographer. Is that crazy?
Right.
Yeah.
So you to know what she wants.
Yes. But the thing is, evaluation is what I was talking about.
Okay.
So all my career, before Dulhan Expo and after Dulhan Expo, even during like my photography days,
right,
I used to sit with my bride and groom and I would give them photo 101.
Okay.
I would literally show them, like I wouldn't want to put any other photographer down. So I'll just pick up a magazine like Filmfare. I'm like, here, look. Shah Rukh Khan standing over there has a shadow, but look at my work.
Right.
So I'm talking about lighting. I'm talking about multiple flashes. I'm talking about how to kill a shadow, and these were
Did you take classes for that?
These were film. I went to school.
Gotcha.
I have a bachelor's in photography.
Nice.
Yeah, photography and graphic design, double major. So I made the dean's list.
Good job.
So it was a passion. I mean, literally we had one whole semester of pinhole camera. We made a camera out of a box.
Okay.
So we're talking about passion here. Like I was the darkroom monitor. I literally
got it.
I actually bought the whole darkroom equipment. I never built it at home, but because I had the key to the college darkroom.
Right.
All the time. I kind of stayed there for an extra year. You can just have all these accesses.
That was
I kept taking a lot of 2 years. I kept taking all these independent study.
It's funny you have to. I mean, you have to educate yourself on what your passion is, right? Like as a planner myself, I take a lot of workshops.
Yeah.
I take a lot of workshops.
It's never ending. Yeah.
How to design, for example, right? Party planning is as easy as ABC. I mean, that's.
But it can get as complicated as you want it to.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah,
it can be as complicated as much as you want it.
You want it.
So with that said, I take workshops. I take workshops on team management, crowd engagement, logistic planning, financial planning, how to allocate the current budget that you have per different vendor, and then analyze that versus expectations.
Yes.
Right. So it's a science behind this. Wedding planning is fine. DJing is, same thing. DJing is a science behind it, right?
Definitely.
You got your beat mapping, right? The thing is, when I was DJing, I still DJ right here and there, but when I was DJing full-fledged, I started off real slow at like a 98 BPM. Then I went to like a 105, then a 113, then 125, then 145. So from 9 p.m., it was a steady increase, right?
Wow.
Because I got so many clients telling me at that time, Jay, they were playing fast music, then they went to slow music, then the fast music. And I told them, well, that's because of the chemicals in your brain.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to adjust to what the BPM is outside. You're dancing, you're jumping up and down, all that good stuff. It's your own particular rhythm and your heartbeat. That's going to cause a headache.
That's the whole science, right?
That's going to cause a headache concept, right? So to eliminate that, just have a steady increase. Now, this is what I learned from trial and error, right? What the best possible outcome of the best possible dance floor.
See, I never thought of it that deeply. I mean, I was at all these weddings and I saw all these DJs play.
Now, with that said, there's science behind it. There's a science behind photography. There has to be, right? Yeah. There's a science behind wedding planning. There has to be. I'm the director here at the Titan. Guess what? There's a science behind the way I sell. There's a science behind the way I run my events over here, because it's all about success. Right? Without knowing what the science is, without knowing how to troubleshoot anything.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? The event's going to be a failure.
Yeah.
So it's all about the prep.
Like complete science. I mean, we're talking about, we're talking about apertures. We're talking about, the film speed. I mean, nowadays, of course, I'm talking about film, but still, there is the speed, even in digital cameras and whatnot.
Yeah.
So there's so many factors. I mean, there's, and you need to know all of that. I know more film because, I left it around there. So when it comes to digital, I get a little bit tongue-tied, So I just bought a Sony camera a few years back to play with it. But Dulhan Expo doesn't leave me alone,
As it shouldn't.
She takes all my time. So
she should.
6 times.
Should take all your time.
6 times a year. Okay. Actually, last couple of years I did 5, but I'm going back to 6 now.
Okay.
So 1 in Philly side, and then 1 in North Jersey, 1 in Central Jersey in the spring season, and then again in the fall season.
So the whole tri-state you have covered.
We have it covered. We used to do Long Island. We're actually getting out of Long Island. Since last 5 years, I only did it twice.
Okay.
Before that, we used to literally do it twice a year. So what happened was a lot of the vendors who were with us from the beginning, it was a good balance. 2 in Long Island and 4 in New Jersey was a good balance. And but a lot of the vendors retired.
Gotcha.
Because see, New York started earlier. New York started in the 80s.
Right.
And it died out earlier.
Right.
So now there are a lot of newbie vendors, but they don't understand the importance of my concept.
Well, it's a platform. Yeah. It's a huge platform.
Yeah, but for me to start, it's almost like I have to start from scratch.
Okay.
So, and then the ones who know the importance of one-on-one marketing and meeting the brides in person, whoever understands that concept, they come and enjoy my New Jersey shows anyway.
Nice.
So I have Long Island vendors coming in. I have Long Island brides coming in. I feel bad that I have to make the brides drive, but it's only usually like an hour and a half away. On a Sunday, there's not that much traffic.
No.
And then on top of that, it's worth it. You're going to save 40 trips. And then brides have to come to New Jersey for shop for everything anyway.
Can I come to Oak Tree Road?
A lot of the DJs, no. Oak Tree Road, true. A lot of your bridal boutiques are on Oak Tree Road.
Right.
It is the biggest hub, in the country.
When I got married, I went to Nasrana and they killed it.
Nasrana is in all my expos, yeah. I mean, so it is the biggest hub, it's the biggest market in the country.
Right.
So people have to come to New Jersey for that. Most of the decorators are here. Most of the DJs are here. Most of the photographers are here. The whole industry has already moved here in New Jersey.
Right.
So the brides have to come anyway. But by coming to Dulhan Expo, they can cut short on so much of their, what I call is the preliminary shopping, or they can, narrow down their list, literally. So they can come and, look through 7 photographers and know, okay, these 2 I like the most, where my budget and their talent is balancing
You mentioned
properly.
7 photographers, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a cutoff list? Like, listen, I could only have 7 photographers. I could only have so many of a particular.
Yeah, 7th is that just in case number. Like, if one of them gets sick. As a matter of fact, see, I tell everybody that in the wedding industry, there are no sick days. There are no family emergencies. No family emergencies.
Right.
I have literally, I'm not going to tell you the extreme one publicly to the whole world, so then I get shunned. But yeah, my daughter was in the hospital, but little kids,
Gotcha.
2-year-olds, they always have something going on. But I was in tears. I was on the stage. I had, the show must go on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Passion versus penalty, right?
There was a bigger thing that I missed, which I'm going to regret for the rest of my life. But what are you going to do? These commitments are crazy. Wedding industry is very unforgiving. So if you want to be a vendor, you should be prepared.
The wedding industry is like a needy woman. Always needing. Baby, I love you. Baby,
You're going to get into trouble.
You can say it right now.
I'm very proud of myself. I'm very politically correct.
Listen, man, this is the Jay Rana Show. I just try to be as raw.
Anybody wants to meet up Jay Rana, meet me. We'll do it together after the show.
No, but it's true though. Like, listen, I'm married.
Needy person.
I need a person. I just
I'm very nitty-gritty. Right. So it's not a gender thing. It's not.
So the Dulhan Expo is primarily in the tri-state. Have you thought about expanding on the west coast? The Midwest?
Entertain like franchise options for, like, I make franchise offers.
Okay.
A lot of times people are just timid. They just, and honestly, there's not even that much investment.
Well, it's an investment.
There's not a money investment.
Right.
Time investment, yes.
100%.
There's no money investment in doing a bridal show, but you gotta be passionate and you gotta dedicate.
You gotta put the work into it.
You gotta put work into it.
And there's a lot of work.
Selling stall booths is, it's like 20 years later, 21 years later, I should say like, oh, it sells itself. But no, a lot of times my regulars have commitments on that day. They have a wedding. So I'm always looking for new vendors to come in, because some like I have a pool of regulars, but not everybody's going to be available on every.
Got it.
So there is work. I mean, especially if you're starting out in Florida, you're going to have to sell booths,
Right.
So I have no problem, but I don't want to go there and do it personally. You got to be a local.
Got it.
You got to be a local.
You mentioned that some of the original vendors out of the Long Island, they grow up, they retire, they move on, and all the new guys come in, right?
Yeah.
Is this something similar like that in a tri-state, like in New Jersey?
New Jersey is very, I would say, self-reinventing and very energetic.
Right.
And New Jersey is really happening.
Right.
When it comes to weddings.
I have to agree.
This is something, look, this is not my survey or something I made up, but this is something njwedding.com's Eric posted.
Right.
That New Jersey is the most luxurious wedding state in the country. The biggest state with
Is that because we have a lot more disposable income?
What was that?
Is that because we have a lot more disposable income?
I think good Jews have something to do with it.
Well, Gujarati people always want to be better than other guys.
New Jersey is, very highly populated with Desis.
Right.
And then among the Desi diaspora, I would say Gujarati is the largest community.
Right.
Right. And no matter what anybody can say, but I feel Gujaratis do the most extravagant weddings.
Right.
And
I always have something to prove. That makes no sense. I feel like Gujarati people have always something to prove. Listen, I was told a story a while ago. It was a story between 2 Gujarati families, right? They were neighbors living across the street from each other. Yeah. And I'm sure I told this to a few other people, even on the show probably, that they were always in competition with each other, right? If one bought a BMW, this guy bought a BMW. Hold on, let me finish. This guy bought a Mercedes, this guy bought a Mercedes, a Tesla. You went back and forth. This guy bought a Bolt, he bought a Bolt, right?
His daughter's wedding, my daughter's wedding.
Right, but now the thing is, they're so fixated on each other that they don't understand the impact that they have on their neighbors. these non-Indians who are looking at these Indian people going at it back and forth. Now, what do you think these non-Indians are?
They're getting the pressure too?
I don't know, man. I just feel like that whole stereotype about, I'm better than you concept with Indian people in general. It's just, I feel like
you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to talk Desis out of doing this with their daughter's weddings though.
Right.
You're not going to be able
That's a big day for them.
Yeah. My daughter's wedding's got to be bigger than the cousin's wedding.
Right.
And all of that. That's going to be, and look, it's good. It's good that people it's not about showing off. It's about going all out. It's about, with every generation, not even every generation, with every next sibling, the size of the festivities increases.
Right.
So it's not like the previous sibling should feel bad about it, but maybe the financial situation of the family improved too.
Right.
Now the kids are making money, they're chipping in, they want to do, so, how our community always, first of all, the mainstream community cannot, be, I would say, condescending towards it or say anything about it because, or let's say talk about our messed up priorities, right?
Okay.
They shouldn't accuse us of the messed up priorities but it's always been like that.
Well, it's a cultural thing too. But
it's a cultural thing. Yeah. It is priorities. Our priorities are in such a way that when the day our daughter is born, when our son is born, we start doing, now, you sucked me into the whole gender thing, comparisons. So son is born, we start saving for his med school, for his education, this and that.
Right.
The daughter is born, we start saving for her wedding.
Why is that?
We make a wedding account in the bank
Exactly.
the day she's born.
Exactly.
Why is that? Because technically, because the most of the nowadays I know people may, or in most cases they do share the expense, but traditionally the whole shadi was the bride's responsibility,
right.
And then the reception, the groom probably did it in his own town, a smaller one, but the wedding itself included a reception too, and the bride's family took care of that.
Right.
So the groom may or may not do this function back home,
right,
when he goes back to his town. But he was at this wedding, he's only responsible for the horse, the dole, the limousine,
right.
and his buddies' outfits.
That's it. Barat.
Yeah, the barat and stuff.
Right.
So everything else was girls' responsibility. So traditionally, girls' family has been paying for the wedding. Again, I'm not promoting that. I like the 50-50 thing or whatever percentages you guys were kept.
Cultural thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to our own particular
priorities. Desis spend money on wedding. In South Asians spend money on weddings.
Yeah.
And so from that point of view,
was it Modern Bride magazine says that the South Asian wedding industry is $1 billion business?
Yeah.
It's $1 billion business.
So literally, okay, so going back to that news, that statistic, that survey, we might have a big portion in that New Jersey, in the whole, New Jersey winning that contest.
Well, I have to say it's going to be in the tri-state. I tell all my clients from the West Coast and the Midwest, right? Listen, any particular vendor that
don't say tri-state, man. We left New York behind. New Jersey is the bomb.
New Jersey, New York. You got New York. Any particular vendor.
Come on, I'm a tri-state expo.
From a DJ to a planner to a photographer, any particular category, right? If you're from the tri-state and you're in the top of your game, you're hustling your ass off, right? So now and that's just to survive and just to make a name for ourselves, just in the tri-state, right?
Yeah.
To be impactful, I want to say. You take that same talent, and that's why we get offers to go to the Midwest, go to the West Coast, down south. You go out there, you do the same thing you do in Jersey, which is, oh, you know what? That was great. We had a great time. Jay, whoever, that was fantastic. 10 out of 10. You do the same thing over there in the Midwest, bro, you're a fucking rock star. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's no 10 out of 10. Bro, you're like a 20 out of 20.
20 out of 20.
Done, right? So if you're going to succeed in the wedding industry in a tri-state, the world is your oyster, bro. That's all I have to say. You can fit anywhere.
Yes, I have always maintained that when brides from a lot of other states do come and shop here,
100%.
because we do have the largest talent pool
Yes.
So when you were asking about me branching out into other states or when other states invite me, I'm like, man, I am in the biggest
But you're a shark already over here, right? So what's the point of going out there?
And then, there are other organizers in other states. I don't want to step on their feet. I'm satisfied.
Gotcha.
How many people can say
it's been saying because you can if you wanted to.
I'm content. I mean, when I started out, didn't I go to London? I went to London 10 times. I've been to Canada 7, 8 times.
Okay.
To check out the Toronto shows. I've been to...
How are the Toronto shows?
Toronto shows stopped after Corona.
That sucks.
They were also grand expo level.
Right.
And they just stopped because they felt that the in-person was gone. You have to literally, just for a couple of years, you had to hang in there.
Yeah.
And it was going to come back. I hung in there. Did I hang in there? No. I freaking built tents in the parking lot.
Yes, you did.
And we did it.
We
did it.
Pines
Manor parking lot.
Yeah.
We did Imperia parking lot. I did bloody bridal shows in 2020.
Nice.
I didn't wait for Corona to go. Everybody was masked. Everybody came. People came.
And the level was packed. That's the level of dedication that you bring to the table, which is...
I didn't want to put a gap. You know why? Because, see, you put a gap and the concept disappears.
Right. Consistency, right? Like you said.
Consistency. See, this is what I'm saying. See, if any vendors that come to Dulhan Expo...
Yeah.
And they can say that, oh, wait, I didn't get results and this and that. I should have made a video of myself as a vendor in Jaipur.
Okay. Well,
if you're sitting behind your table at your booth, nobody's going to disturb you.
100%.
Nobody's going to disturb you.
Right.
You got to be a go-getter.
Yeah.
Somebody just said that to me, and I've been waiting for that word since ever. But somebody said that to me, and I loved it. Go-getter. At this age, I was thinking people are going to be like, Sumit, you're semi-retired. So I loved it.
Yeah.
And I see that in me. So here I am in Jaipur at the World, what was it? IWTC, International Wedding and Tourism Conclave.
Nice.
So I got an award that says IWTC.
Fancy.
That place, so they had a whole booth area where hotels had a booth, wedding planners had booths, other services had a booth. They were promoting to each other.
Okay.
So the hotels were promoting to the planners, and the planners were promoting to the hotels.
It was all B2B.
All B2B. Yeah, 100% B2B. So I had my booth over there, and I had an associate over there, and I would walk away, go to the conference area, come back, and then I see her standing behind the booth. I'm like, no, you can't do that.
You gotta be in the front.
You gotta be in the front. Now, what I was doing was, the time that I would go and attend my booth, I would come out of my booth into the aisle, block the people walking down the aisle.
Okay.
I would be like,
you're supposed to.
I would come in the middle.
Yeah.
These are hoteliers. These are the people I went there to meet.
Right.
So how can I miss them?
Gonna make your presence known at that point.
I would walk away from my booth. It's like, hey, I don't believe we met. Sumit.
Nice.
The moment I would do that, they would walk with me to my booth.
Okay.
Then they want to see my banner. They want to...
Are you all talking English over there, or are you all speaking Hindi?
Both. I don't remember now. Because I'm in Jaipur, I don't have... sometimes, we Indians like to speak in English, so we sound a little bit more, But I'm from here, and I love talking in Hindi.
I wish I could speak in Hindi.
I love talking in Hindi because, they actually look at me like, dude, you live in USA? Your Hindi is so pure?
Yeah.
Your Hindi is so perfect. And, I like that. So I mix it up.
Nice. Impressive.
If I notice that the guy, oh yes, Hindi all the time, unless then if I'm talking to a South Indian who's not very, let's say, comfortable with Hindi,
okay,
then I would go English.
Okay.
But mostly, yes, I did speak in Hindi. Now I remember.
Okay.
So, because that was an international conclave. So there were vendors, there were planners from Chennai, there were planners from
yourself,
Rajasthan.
Were there any representatives from this country?
No.
Wow.
I was the only American. And then that's why they loved it. And they all said that some people said 70% of their business is NRI. Some said 85. And they said it used to be more London. more UK, and now it's shifting more USA.
Really?
So more American brides are going to India.
Yeah, I've seen that myself.
To actually have royal weddings. The
reason I ask if they spoke Hindi or English is because I got asked to go MC an event out there, but one of the requirements was to speak Hindi, and I couldn't do it. I can't speak Hindi, so I'm like, bro, I would love to.
Gujarati, you speak Gujarati
A little bit, but still, I can speak Gujarati with my mom and dad and my family if I needed to, right?
But not MC level.
Not an MC level, not at all. I mean, I'll start cursing here and there, right? I can't do that.
The curses.
I can't do that. So I had to walk away from that. They threw a pile of money at me at that point.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it. I couldn't speak Hindi. Only thing I know is, problem here.
Your classes start from tomorrow.
That's all I got. That's all I got. So I was like, I can't help you.
Yeah, your classes.
But thank you for the offer. I would love to speak Hindi. I would love to take classes.
Yeah.
And actually learn how to speak our native tongue.
Yeah.
Right? That's crazy. I mean, I was born and raised right here in New Jersey myself.
Of course, I know.
So learning Gujarati was my first language.
That's what I'm saying. As long as you're bilingual, a lot of because India has, more than 20 languages and we have 33 states. So everybody is not supposed to know, even though Hindi is a national language, not everybody is supposed to know it. As long as you know English and your own regional language, you're fine. You're good,
That's all it takes.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Google Translate, bro. I should help out all the time. Google Translate works all the time.
Use that.
I'm kidding you not.
I know we didn't do proper introduction in the beginning. Like, we just jumped in the middle since we know each other for so long. But yeah, so I'm Sumit Arya. We do these Dulhan Expos. So I organize bridal shows since last 21 year. Actually, I should say 22. In January, it will be 22 years.
Right.
So 2003 was our first year. So
congratulations on your success, bro.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Persistency is the key, man. I mean, I feel like I'm just going to do it until I'm gone. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Amitabh Bachchan inspires me, It's like, if he doesn't retire, why I want to retire?
Amitabh Bachchan also has a statue of himself in some of the role, like villages in India. And they portray him as Bhagwan. So that shit actually happens.
I don't aspire that high. Please, no shrines, no Sumit shrines, please.
No, the thing is, in this whole wedding industry, right?
Yeah.
Not just the expos, like in your situation. You're doing expos, right? You have your destinations. You have your photography background.
Yeah.
You have so many other things that you do, right? As long as you're consistent in the wedding industry, the name will live on forever.
Yeah, thank you, man. Honestly, we've been around for 22 years. So many other bridal shows have come and gone.
Right.
And I really want to thank the community for their loyalty. What they actually are the ones who get all the credit, that they kept us not only afloat, they kept us thriving. And, other exhibitions might have had good content and they came out very strong even the first time.
Right.
But the brides stuck with us.
Nice.
And there's
a reason for that.
There's no count. I said that I'm ziddi. I'm stubborn as hell.
Okay.
So I never try to cut down anybody.
Right.
Like, there's literally 30 exhibitions happened in these 22 years from outside my exhibition, and organized by 10, 15 different organizers.
Yeah.
Some of them continued for 8 years, but I never, ever try to cut them down.
Okay.
All I did was, as soon as I saw any competition around me, we just elevated ourselves.
You're supposed to.
Yeah. All we did was, as a matter of fact, I like it. Maybe I think lately I feel a little stagnant because I think there's nobody to,
there's no competition.
There's no competition.
You gotta laugh at that word at this point.
So
I mean, all the time.
I am my own competition. So yes, stagnancy never literally, comes in the way or approaches me. But as far as I personally feel that when there's somebody around, it gives you a whole new boost.
100%.
Yeah. You go double on your marketing, because at the end of the day...
Because you got to innovate yourself all the time, right?
At the end
That's
of the day,
all part of it.
There can be there can be 30 DJs coexist, there can be 100 photographers coexist, there can be 100 makeup artists coexist. But when it comes to this, my kind of position, it's good to be slightly exclusive.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it does help, you know.
And I'll work for you.
See, that's the reason why I don't invade other people's territories.
Right.
You know, there is a guy in Virginia doing a great job. Why do they need me? I don't go.
Okay.
You know, there's 2 organizers in Atlanta, Florida area,
Right.
doing a great job. They're solving the purpose.
Right.
Why would I want to franchise there?
Right.
There are states who used to have things and they don't have anymore, like Houston and Dallas and California still has one organizer, I think, who does occasionally.
Are they consistent with that though?
But see, so that's something. So Chicago and Houston needs one.
Okay.
Yeah, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, they need one. And the Chicago lady was doing a great job. I don't think she should have quit, but she went into wedding planning, and she's doing great at that. And more power to her.
Right.
But Chicago is lacking an expo. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we're good over here, man. We're in the biggest center. I'm satisfied. You know, I'm telling you, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you wouldn't be able to get the word content out of my mouth.
Got it.
And literally, I used to think that content is the synonym for happiness.
Okay.
You know, in your life, if you're content at a certain point, you have achieved nirvana.
Okay.
You know, if you are like, nahi, mujhe wo bhi chahiye, I want to get that, I want to get this, I want to get that, you're miserable. You know, people come up to me like, okay, like, you know, you said about other states, or why don't you do this? Let's open this. Let's start this business. Let's start that business. I'm like, and lose my vacation? I work 7 months out of the year.
Right.
I'm happy.
Right.
I want to go away. When I work like a dog. Why do people say that? Because dogs don't work. Man, they have life. They have the life. But when I work nonstop. I work 19 hours a day in those months, right? If you're sitting in front of me, I'm not even looking at you. I'm in my work, ground, right? But once the expo is over, I'm nowhere to be found.
Got it.
I'm gone.
Mode.
I'm in India. I'm in Dubai. I'm somewhere, you know, in some secluded country.
You mentioned being content is equal to nirvana, right?
That was too much?
Well, yes and no. Like me personally, I guess to each their own, right? Me personally, I'm content, and
you're still younger than me.
I'm only 45.
That's what I'm saying.
But
so
listen,
go do your shit for another.
I'm content to where I am.
Don't be content yet.
Listen.
I don't want you to be content.
I'm content where I am because of everything I've achieved so far.
Of course.
Now, with that said, I'm ambitious as hell.
You gotta stay.
I wouldn't be sitting here if I wasn't ambitious, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's my nirvana, right?
Yeah.
Me being ambitious, what's my next role? That's where I find peace.
Working in your...
So that's the individual...
Working in your passion profession...
Right.
...is nirvana itself.
I have to agree.
Yeah. So if you're, like, let's say, you know, like I said, I mean, was I crazier at your age and maybe like even 10, 50 years before your age? So in my 30s, I was doing mandaps and I was doing photography.
Right.
And I would not sleep for 4 days in a row. I don't sleep 4 days in a row now, but that's only 5 times a year.
Okay.
But then it was every weekend.
Right.
You know, because I was doing photography and mandaps. There goes your nap time. You know, because you're packing your mandap after you packed up your photography. That's another 2 hours of packing. Now, instead of reaching the next place at 6, you have to reach there at 4. And here you packed up at 2 instead of 12.
Right.
So that 2-hour window in between, you got to drive to the next place.
Right.
So there is no sleep. I used to hire drivers and I would literally just go without sleep and then just Monday, Tuesday, I'm dead. So I did all that.
Yeah.
I did all that. And like I said, I would still do it.
Has that impacted your personal life?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
In a positive way, in a negative way? I feel like it's both. I feel like it impacts my life as a negative way because, like, we can't give time to our family, right?
Yes.
Number one, I can't go to my boy's birthday party because I'm working, right?
Yeah.
But it impacts my life in a positive way.
Yeah, I did miss out on my children's childhood.
Right.
I did miss out on that a lot. And I missed that, like, when they were little.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weekends are the thing. So the whole wedding industry. So as a matter of fact, see, I got out in time too.
Okay.
So when I made the crossover, my son would have, but see this, I've been doing this for 21 years now.
Right.
So the first 2-3 years of this was also very strenuous. But then I was one of the very few people who were able to make that crossover.
Yeah.
And a lot of vendors envied me for that.
Yeah.
That I have my weekends back.
Nice.
I have my summers back.
You got your weekends.
I'm actually opposite. Yeah, I'm working opposite. So I'm working in the dead times,
You mentioned your son, right? I think we spoke about this a while ago. I think you told me this a couple of months ago that your son just graduated from college, right?
No, he's still in there. He's in 4th year of MD.
Okay. So his friends didn't realize that he was your son.
Okay.
Wait, are you Sumit Arya's son? Is that the name? Yeah. So it's blew their fucking minds.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you feel about that? Like your son already has a platform in that level, right? I mean, that has to be something that you're proud of.
See, honestly, I feel that people who are self-made, who struggle to get where they are,
right?
I feel they stay grounded.
Okay.
When he tells me that, like, oh, my friends are like, oh, you're like his son? And I'm like, what's the big deal?
Right.
It's a freaking job. It's just a job.
Right.
I'm no celebrity.
It's a job.
I'm no celebrity, so I don't feel it myself.
Okay.
But when people tell me or when people introduce me, like, I walk into an event and Kulrajanand,
Yeah.
So he would walk up to me and then he'll take me to 3-4 people and he would introduce me. And I'm like, I'm no big deal. Like, to me, kind of like, I feel awkward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you feel awkward?
Huh?
Why do you feel awkward?
I don't know, man.
I feel like you're very
seriously. I don't take it seriously.
Okay.
It's Dulhan Expo. I built it.
You're humble.
But I might be humble, and I also feel that this is how the world is.
Right.
Okay. Once this is gone, once I'm gone, I don't think anybody's gonna miss it.
You think so?
I don't think anybody's gonna miss it. World is cruel, bro.
Yeah.
Somebody else might do it. Somebody else might not do it. People will go back to the Instagrams and whatnot to find their stuff. But I don't know. I have this fear, So everybody watching us, please come to my funeral. I have this thing. I don't know, like 10 people gonna be at my funeral because these are just strangers, At the end of the day, at what point?
Well, you don't want to.
Guys, you gotta love me, okay?
We don't want to talk about funerals or like something more depressing of that nature. But I don't want to talk about your death.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about.
I'm just trying to make a point.
But I feel like should the day come where we're all gonna pass one day, right? Yeah. Clearly, when that day comes, I feel like the whole wedding industry will come to a standstill for you. 100%. I'm not gonna give you a hug. Stop it. You can't give me a hug. No, but absolutely. Listen, there's a lot of secrets to my success, right? I have to say that the Dulhan Expo platform is one of the secrets to my success. 100%.
Thank you.
And I'm proud to say that because it's a fact.
Thank you.
When I first came on board and I was consistent with you for years and years and years, making a name for myself, but that's because of the brides that you brought in.
Driving up here, I praised you for taking that plunge because you went all out with your launch expo.
Yeah, that was my launch.
Yeah, and you didn't hold back on the expenses. You took a very big package.
That was a big cut.
That was a big package.
That was a big. I think at that point,
people will come to you and they will say you're stupid. You gave Sumit so much money.
No, not at all.
But at the end of the day,
they probably did. They probably
did.
But now they look stupid about it.
But for that exposure package, you would have had to spend that much.
100%.
Grand Expo, I used to charge.
I was gonna say, I think at that time in my life, I was in my early 20s. That was the.
You wanted to stand out.
That was the largest
investment
check I ever wrote.
And
it was well worth it.
And it paid off.
Dividends.
Of course.
Dividends.
Because see, it gave you an instant launch. Because see, at the end of the day, you can. Dulhan Expo is a fast forward button.
Okay.
So you're gonna get there wherever you're gonna get there, whatever's in your destiny one day anyway. But all Dulhan Expo or any platform, I'm not even saying Dulhan Expo.
Okay.
Let's say you advertise on Google, you advertise on TV, you advertise on radio, or you might say those medias are dead, but they're not dead because the parents are watching.
Right.
You know, you could get, if you went on TV today on B4U, some parent is going to tell me like, Dikra, shadi ho rahi hai, ye photographer hai, go to him.
Right.
Why not? So I believe in all media are still relevant.
Okay.
And I feel that all advertising is good advertising. So anything you do pays off dividends. What was the point I was trying to make?
Should you pass one day the concept of the Dulhan Expo, will it's
okay.
Go be here.
Yeah.
You think your kids?
I might retire before that, man.
Okay.
Now, I know I was just saying earlier, you know, like Amitabh Bachchan, I want to probably keep working until I die.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean,
if the opportunity keeps on,
I'm not going to get tired, but, you know, at the end of the day,
it probably keeps you young.
As a matter of fact, see, the thing is, there are a couple of factors tying me down, like personal life factors that are tying me down. But otherwise, I could do these expos in New Jersey and just never live in New Jersey. I could be in different country every month.
Right.
And just, you know, do my groundwork from there and come here a week before the expo.
Well, there you go. You already have everything
planned.
Like, yeah, exactly. So
they'll prevent me from burning out. I'm far from burning out now, but this whole new concept of nomadic work, like not work from office,
right?
Work from beach,
right?
From treehouse.
Do you think AI is interfering with your business at all?
Artificial intelligence? It's not interfering, but...
Or you think it'll make a dent? Because it's a brand new concept, right? It's a brand new concept.
I'm scared of AI a little bit, that it's gonna, like, see, I mean, I see this stupid ads where Jeff Bezos is saying that I created a WhatsApp group. I mean, come on, if anybody's that gullible to... So there's gonna be a lot more fakeness coming out. And, you know, my associate loves to use ChatGPT to create stuff, but I am so old school. I discard it and I am like, no, my wording. I'm going to use my wording. I don't want this too vague. The stuff is so vague.
Right.
You know, I want it to be bang on, like my thoughts exactly.
Like your personal thoughts.
Yeah. So I don't think AI can read my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, or you know, what I put into the expo or let's say just...
I'm not going to lie, man. I did use ChatGPT for a few things. A couple of my emails, a couple of my client emails. You know,
that's good.
Or Titan. It's just, it's good, but it's not great, right? It's good because, like you said, it's vague, right? It's a general paragraph about what you want to convey. Like a message, right? I have
you can use it and personalize it.
Yeah, you got to personalize.
So AI is not just that. AI is going to be a lot of things. It's going to be a lot of things. AI is going to improve the medical industry. You know, it's going to be less invasive stuff,
right?
You know, as we go. And I'm just like, you know, as a kid, I watched Jetsons, and now I'm like feeling, especially with the Cybertruck already here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay. And then cyber taxis. I mean the flying taxis and stuff. I think we're already at the Jetsons level.
I think we've got some time.
Yeah,
I can definitely agree with you.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not looking forward to is taking pills instead of taking a pill that says, you know, steak or enchilada.
Okay.
I don't want a pill that says enchilada on it. I
think the astronauts already knew that, right? Astronauts already have the dry food packages, and it's like just out of water concept.
Yeah, so that part of Jetsons, I'm not looking forward to.
Me neither, man. I'm a big foodie myself.
I want the goat biryani from Ruhi's.
It's the goat biryani. The best goat biryani that you've had so far, where's it from?
Ruhi's in Franklin Park, or Biryani Adda.
Okay, nice.
Check it out.
Best chicken tikka masala. Where'd you have it?
Chicken tikka masala, I usually don't try much because of my lactose intolerance.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, but otherwise, couple of Pakistani places do a very good job.
Do you think Pakistani places make the food better than non-Pakistani?
I would say North Indians would actually, any North Indian that would try Pakistani restaurants would get more hooked on that. Now, all my clients are North Indian caterers and don't hate me for that.
Okay.
But then It's two different.
I love Pakistani food. I absolutely adore it. I mean,
it's the same as North Indian, same as Mughlai, except it just usually uses less cream. That's why I like it better.
Okay.
You know, they use less cream, but very oily. So I literally take a spoon and drain all the oil out.
Okay.
And I'm good. Yeah, I didn't expect Jay to go the food way. He knows I'm a big foodie.
Of course you have to. I mean, I got you on the show. I want to ask you as many questions as I possibly can and get to know you a little bit more.
Sure. But you said there were no questions. We were going to just talk.
That's what we're doing. Sumit, that's our time.
That's our time.
Thank you for coming on to my show. I appreciate it. Conversations that we had. I'm going to bring you on for a second one. Okay.
Thank you.
If you want to give a quick plug, be my guest. Let me get the flyer up again.
Yeah, sure. Actually, so we have these two expos coming up in a month. November 5th is the election day. I picked election day for a reason. Half of the people have day off.
Okay.
So I'm hoping it should be good. And then we have November 17th. We're at the Riverview Ballroom. Then we were at the Hilton Penn's Landing in Philadelphia today.
I love that place.
Yeah, so we just booked that for March 23rd.
Nice.
Yeah, so that one is
down. You talked to Neil over there.
Neil, yes. Yeah. Yes, Neil is my guy. I've been with Neil since 2007.
Nice.
2007.
He was at Crown Palace?
Crown Plaza, Cherry Hill. Yeah, Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
Yep. It's DoubleTree now, but so I go wherever he goes. So he got transferred to Hilton Penn's Landing.
Cool. Yeah.
So last 3-4 years we've been there. And next year, hopefully, we'll actually do it twice over there. So twice in Philly, twice in North Jersey, twice in Central Jersey. We got the entire East Coast covered. Yeah, this is not just tri-state. You know, I have brides come from DMV. I have brides come from Connecticut.
Nice.
You know, Massachusetts, Delaware, everywhere.
That's fantastic, bro.
Yeah. So, guys, November 5th and November 17th, log on to dulhanexpo.com and you can register and show up.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Guys, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Jay Rana Show with my guest, Mr. Sumit Arya from Dulhan Expo. Recording here at the Titan Union. If you want some information, some tours, give me a call. It should be a DM, and I'll see you on my dance floor. Peace.